Hi, so today I'm going to be talking about sweeteners and what sweeteners that are good and what sweeteners to avoid when you're doing keto. Hidden sugars that you probably don't know are in certain foods and drinks, so we're going to dive into that. With keto, what we want as far as our insulin is concerned is we want to create insulin resistance. So when you consume sugar, it skyrockets your insulin. Well, when your insulin skyrockets, then that kind of kicks your body out of ketosis, so to speak. Massive amount of sugar or even some sweeteners will kick you out of ketosis. One of the substitute sweeteners that I use is erythritol and xylitol. Different companies use different packaging. I get my erythritol and xylitol from Whole Foods because Walmart doesn't carry them in the store. You would have to order them. And so this is the bag that I use when I get erythritol or xylitol. You want to make sure that it says no GMO, non-genetically altered or modified. Sometimes with sweeteners and how certain drinks can claim that it's sugar-free or no sugar added is they use sweeteners where there's fewer calories in it. On the glycemic index chart, there are different levels. It's pretty much a food scale that measures the amount of blood sugar content. So Dr. Eric Berg has a 2-minute video where he kind of describes all of the sugar and sweeteners and on the level of that glycemic index chart, and I'll link his video below because it's more information than that I know of, so I'll just link that below. It's only 2 minutes. When you do keto, you want to cut out the table sugar. So for a substitute sweetener, I use the erythritol or the xylitol. The difference between the two is erythritol has one of the lowest glycemic blood sugar levels pretty much. It's at like a 0 or a 1, I believe. The xylitol, I think, has 12. The xylitol is fine. You don't want to eat too much of it because if you do, it does have a laxative effect. With erythritol, 90% of it is absorbed before it even enters your large intestine. The rest of it gets passed through your urine. So you don't really contain that sweetener in your body anyway. The main use of using sweeteners are pretty much for the taste. You're not getting any health benefits from it. Some people also use stevia, which is a good one, and that's on the same index level as erythritol, so like the 0 or 1 rating. You can also get stevia and erythritol, xylitol in powder form and in drops as well. So it just depends on what you're wanting it for or what you're baking with it, because you can bake with it, you can cook with it. It responds the same as sugar. It just doesn't have the carb content and the calories. So I want to talk about diet soda because even I was drinking Diet 7-Up and sometimes I still drink it. But it's important to note that just because a drink says diet or no sugar added or 0 sugars does not mean that it's not going to spike your insulin, because they use hidden sugars that you can find on the other label category on the can or whatever it is that you're consuming. I'll put some pictures up here of Diet Pepsi, Diet Mountain Dew, Diet Dr. Pepper. They all say 0 calories on it, but if you look on the other nutrition information where it says ingredients, that's where you're going to see the hidden problem. A lot of people think Diet Coke is okay to drink on keto, and it's not, because of this one specific ingredient that all of these sodas share, and that is aspartame and NutraSweet. Those are the sweeteners that are put in non-sugar drinks, but it helps with the taste. So for me, this is how I make sure that I definitely look at labels. If it definitely says 0 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, no added sugar, then I'm like, okay, well, if all of this is true, but it still tastes sweet to me, then there's something else added in there, and that's usually the aspartame or NutraSweet, and those will spike your insulin levels. You also want to avoid sweeteners that contain dextrose and maltodextrin, because those, as well as the aspartame, will affect your blood glucose level. Like I said, the diet sodas, it will stop your ketosis. It will definitely slow it down at the least. And then your body has to fight to burn off those sugars to get back to burning fat. So one thing that I didn't mention in the other video is your body goes to the sugar and the carbs first because it's the most toxic thing in our body. So it wants to destroy it, get rid of it first. But when we're constantly feeding it to ourselves or constantly taking in sugar and carbs, then that's when our health problems start, because your body can only fight so much and so fast. And so then if there's excess amount of it, then it's like, okay, well, we can't get rid of all of this right now, so we're going to take some of the sugar, store it in your cells, take some of the sugar and store it in your fat. Most people don't know that your blood does contain sugar, but it doesn't need as much sugar that we intake. Your blood only needs 2 teaspoons of sugar. On average, we consume, as humans, 31 teaspoons of sugar a day. That's about 140 pounds of sugar a year. That is way too much. Our bodies weren't made to handle that, so that's why you have problems like high cholesterol, heart attacks, strokes. That's because of the sugar intake. It's not because of the fat intake. Talked about that. Talked about that. And blah 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 blah. But yeah, so that's pretty much about sugars, substitute sweeteners. You can use it, like I said, to bake. I definitely use erythritol to make sweets. Some of the foods, such as fruits and vegetables, they have a sugar content in it that will do the opposite of what we want in ketosis. So I'll put a list of some foods right here. That tell you how much carbs are in, how much sugars are in that. And I think you'll be surprised, like bananas, apples, grapes, they all have high sugar content. Even though they're natural, they will still fight against ketosis. With the ketogenic diet, it is okay to eat certain fruits, but it is recommended that you just stick to the berries because they have a low sugar content. So blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, even some strawberries, but you want to make sure that you limit it. So you don't want to eat like a whole container of strawberries, because then you're taking in too many sugars and too many carbs and yada yada yada. So what I do is I make sure that I get the organic strawberries and blueberries, and then I will mix that in with erythritol. Like I'll put a little bit of erythritol or xylitol in it to make it more sweet. And that's what I do. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye!